In this final video, I'm going to be demonstrating the last two steps to finish your tissue box cover. This is the larger size, the warehouse size. And the difference is that it has one extra panel at the bottom. So the first thing we're going to do is cover the corners. Now, this is a good one for me to demonstrate with because the thread is much darker, the trim is much darker than the rest of the box. So whereas in other ones, I might go right down here through the back, I can't do that because it will show. So I basically constructed this all by tying knots, and that's what we're going to do here. So for the corners, I typically like to add 2 or 3 stitches, and we're going to come up through the top corner of one of the bottom panels. And we want to keep a long tail here so that we can tie a knot at the end. And I'm going to notch this so that it doesn't get in the way. So we're just trying to cover up this little plastic part, and this is completely optional. No one's going to look at this and think, oh my God, look at those corners. So we're going from the bottom to the top. And you don't want to pull it fast. You pretty much need to place it so that it goes exactly where you want. So we just went from here to here, and now we're going to go from here to here. And occasionally I will add a 3rd stitch, normally from here to here, but it's typically not necessary. Let's see what this one looks like. And we're going to place it. Perfect. You can see that that covered all the plastic there. So we're moving on. Oh, we don't want to lose our tail. Okay, so we're moving on to the next corner. Okay, those corners covered just perfectly. Now we're going to take our needle out and take these 2 ends and tie them in a knot. And I try to get as close to the seam as I can. And I always tie a double knot. And then trim off the excess. Okay, so now we have our 4 corners done. And the only thing left to do is the trim at the bottom. Now, to do this, we can't really use just one piece. It would be way too long. And the downside of using cotton is if you had a large enough piece and went all the way around, by the time you get to the end, it's going to be very worn. So what we're going to do, and you can start anywhere. I typically like to start right after a corner, but for this demonstration, I'm going to start right before. And you want to go the same way as this border row. So we're going to be going left to right. So I'm going to start right here. And we're going to leave a tail because, again, we're going to have to tie this in a knot at the end. And you want it to look just like this row. So what I don't want you to do is wrap it. If you wrap it, it becomes flat and covers everything and doesn't look nice like this. So what I do is sort of hold it like this and just go like that, where you're not wrapping it tightly around. And you'll see by doing that, it looks very similar to the border row of stitches. Now when you get to a corner, I like to add a few extra. So we're at the corner here. I'm gonna go around once and then tuck that one right down in between them. It's especially easy with this dark color to make sure it's easy to see that you've gotten all the plastic. Put that right on the corner. I'm going to do another one in this same hole. And do whatever looks right to you. You can see we covered the corner well there. Okay, so now we're moving on. And like I said, I find it easiest to do like this. Now, if you're making one that's just all one color, it's very easy. I would start and end threads by coming up through the back. But with this dark trim, like I said, we need to do knots. So what you're going to do, and you can see that I've done this when I was doing the connecting, you tie the two threads together, cut off the excess, and then continue on. And I made these short just so I could demonstrate both going around the corner and changing threads. Okay. Oh, no, that's right. Okay, so to change a thread, we're just going to take the two threads and tie them in a knot. I find the easiest way to do this is sort of to just tie a knot with the new thread around the old thread. That seems to be the easiest way to get it real close. Okay, and then we're going to cut off the excess. Thread our needle. And continue on. Now I made that a little too close to the edge, but we can just pull it down a little bit. You won't be able to see it from the outside. Okay, so likewise, I'm just going to continue all the way around, changing thread as I need to. And one other thing I wanted to show, so this is the warehouse size box, and it just fits perfectly. And that is how you make the warehouse and the large rectangular. If you have any questions, please send me an email.